Let me start by saying something that most men never hear, but desperately need to. If you are an average-sized man and you've crossed 50, nothing is broken about you. You have not lost your value. And you are absolutely not past your prime when it comes to creating deep, meaningful pleasure in your relationship. What has changed is not your worth, but your approach. And once you understand that, everything becomes easier, calmer, and far more satisfying for both of you. Many men come to me quietly frustrated. They don't say it out loud, but I can see it in their posture, in their voice, in the way they hesitate before asking a simple question. They believe that pleasure is about performance, speed, or athletic ability. They think it requires extreme effort, complicated movements, or a body they had 20 years ago. And when they can't match that image anymore, they assume the problem is them. But here's the truth. Deep pleasure has very little to do with size, strength, or dramatic actions, especially after 50. In fact, men who slow down, simplify, and understand timing often create far more connection and satisfaction than men who try too hard. As we age, the body naturally changes. Blood flow is not as fast as it once was. Energy levels fluctuate more than they used to. Recovery takes longer. Sleep patterns change. Stress sits deeper in the system. None of this is failure. This is biology. The mistake men make is trying to force their body to behave like it did at 30, instead of learning how to work with the body they have now. After 50, the nervous system becomes more sensitive to stress. That means rushing no longer works. Pressure backfires. Anxiety interrupts natural rhythm. Many men notice that when they try to push through fatigue or tension, the body simply refuses to cooperate. This isn't weakness. It's the body asking for a different approach. One of the biggest challenges men face at this stage of life is mental pressure. The mind becomes loud. Thoughts like, will I be able to keep up? Or what if I disappoint her? Quietly take over. And once the mind is tense, the body follows. Pleasure, however, does not come from tension. It comes from safety, calm, and presence. This is why average-sized men often have an advantage they don't realize. When you stop relying on force or speed, you begin to rely on awareness. You notice breath, you notice timing, you notice small reactions and subtle responses. And those small things, when done correctly, matter far more than dramatic effort. Another challenge after 50 is misunderstanding timing. Younger men often rely on momentum. Older men benefit from rhythm. Timing is not about how fast something starts or ends. Timing is about choosing the right moment when the body is most receptive. That might be earlier in the day instead of late at night. It might be after a walk instead of after a heavy meal. It might be when the mind is calm instead of when stress is high. Many men try to ignore this and wonder why things feel inconsistent. One day feels easy, the next feels difficult. The difference is not motivation, it's timing. Hormonal balance, circulation, hydration, and emotional state all play a role. When men learn to respect these factors instead of fighting them, everything improves naturally. Lifestyle also plays a much bigger role than most men realize. Sitting all day reduces circulation. Poor sleep disrupts recovery. Dehydration thickens the blood and slows response. Constant worry keeps the nervous system on edge. None of these issues require extreme solutions. Small daily adjustments make a noticeable difference over time. Walking regularly improves circulation more effectively than intense workouts that exhaust the body. Deep breathing calms the nervous system faster than forcing relaxation. Consistent sleep supports hormonal balance better than any quick fix. And when the body feels supported, it responds more reliably. One thing I often remind men is this: pleasure is not something you force into existence. It is something you allow. When you remove pressure, when you create calm, when you give the body time, it naturally responds. Especially after 50, less effort often leads to better results. Average-sized men who understand this stop comparing themselves to unrealistic standards. They stop chasing dramatic results. Instead, they focus on presence, they focus on connection, they focus on feeling rather than proving, and that shift alone changes everything. In the next part, we'll talk more about how slowing down, adjusting expectations, and understanding natural rhythm can transform the experience without requiring anything extreme or exhausting. For now, I want you to remember this: you are not behind. You are not lacking. You are simply at a stage where wisdom works better than force. And once you learn to work with your body instead of against it, deep pleasure becomes not only possible, but reliable. As we continue, I want to talk about something that is often overlooked, but quietly determines how satisfying any intimate experience feels, especially as men grow older, and that is the state of your nervous system. Most men think the body leads and the mind follows. In reality, after 50, the mind often leads and the body responds afterward. If your nervous system is tense, rushed, or overloaded, the body does not open up easily. This is why many men feel inconsistent. One day things feel smooth and natural, and another day they feel disconnected or delayed. The difference is rarely physical ability. It is almost always the level of calm inside the body. Modern life does not help with this. Men carry work pressure, financial concerns, family responsibility, and unspoken expectations. By the end of the day, the body may be present, but the mind is still running. When that happens, timing becomes off. The body needs time to shift from alert mode into relaxed mode. If that transition is rushed, the experience feels forced rather than natural. This is where slowing down becomes powerful. Not slowing down as in doing less, but slowing down internally. Simple habits like pausing your breath, sitting quietly for a few minutes, or even washing your hands with warm water can signal the nervous system to soften. These small signals matter more than people realize. Another challenge men face after 50 is the belief that desire must appear instantly. That belief comes from youth, not maturity. As men age, desire often grows gradually. It builds with comfort, familiarity, and emotional safety. When men expect instant response, they create pressure. When they allow time, the body responds more willingly. Timing, again, plays a key role here. Many men discover that earlier hours of the day work better than late nights. The body is less fatigued. Hormonal balance is more stable. The mind is clearer. This doesn't mean routines must be rigid. It simply means listening to patterns instead of ignoring them. Food also affects timing more than men expect. Heavy meals pull circulation toward digestion. Alcohol dulls nerve response. Dehydration reduces energy and focus. None of this requires strict rules. Awareness alone makes a difference. Light meals, proper hydration, and moderation support the body's natural rhythm. One of the most helpful shifts men can make is moving from goal-oriented thinking to experience-oriented thinking. When the mind is focused on an outcome, it skips over the moment itself. When the mind is focused on sensation, connection, and presence, the experience deepens naturally. Average-sized men often excel here once they stop comparing themselves to unrealistic images. They become more attentive. They notice subtle changes in breathing, posture, and mood. These signals guide timing far better than any technique. The body speaks quietly. Men who listen create stronger connection. Lifestyle habits outside the bedroom matter just as much as what happens inside it. Regular movement keeps circulation healthy. Exposure to sunlight supports natural hormone cycles. Quality sleep restores the nervous system. Stress management protects sensitivity. None of these are dramatic changes. They are steady, supportive practices that add up over time. Men sometimes underestimate how much emotional closeness influences physical response. Feeling appreciated, respected, and relaxed makes the body far more responsive. When communication is warm and pressure-free, the body follows. This is why deep pleasure often improves when men focus less on performance and more on connection. Another important point is patience with yourself. Aging is not a straight line. Some days feel stronger, others softer. This fluctuation is normal. Men who accept this stop fighting their body. And when the fight ends, the body often responds with surprising reliability. I often tell men that the most powerful skill after 50 is adaptability, not forcing yesterday's habits onto today's body, but adjusting gently. This mindset alone reduces anxiety, which is one of the biggest blockers to natural response. As you become more comfortable with slower build-up, better timing, and supportive lifestyle habits, confidence returns. Not the loud confidence of youth, but a quiet confidence rooted in understanding. That kind of confidence is calming, and calm is deeply attractive. In the next part, we'll explore how presence, awareness, and simple daily routines strengthen connection and consistency without requiring effort or strain. For now, remember this: your body is not asking you to do more. It is asking you to do things differently. When you listen, when you slow the mind and respect timing, deep pleasure becomes something you experience together, not something you chase. Now I want to talk about something that quietly separates frustration from fulfillment for many men, and that is presence. Presence sounds simple, but it is one of the most misunderstood skills in men's health after 50. Presence does not mean trying harder or paying attention to every detail. It means being fully in the moment without judging what is happening. Many men are physically there, but mentally somewhere else. They are thinking about how things should feel, how long something should last, or whether they are doing enough. This constant evaluation pulls the mind out of the experience. And when the mind disconnects, the body follows. After 50, the body responds best when the mind is calm and steady. Presence allows the nervous system to settle. When you are not rushing, not checking the clock, and not measuring yourself against expectations, the body relaxes. Relaxation is not passive, it is active readiness. One of the simplest ways to build presence is through breathing. Slow, deep breathing sends a powerful signal to the body that it is safe to respond naturally. Shallow breathing, on the other hand, keeps the body in alert mode. Many men don't realize they are holding their breath during moments of pressure. Releasing that tension changes everything. Another part of presence is learning to let go of control. Younger men often rely on control to feel confident. Older men benefit from responsiveness instead. Responding means adjusting based on what feels natural in the moment, not forcing a fixed plan. This flexibility creates ease, and ease creates depth. Connection deepens when men slow their internal pace. When you move too quickly mentally, the body struggles to keep up. When the mind moves slowly, the body has space to respond fully. This is why men who appear calm often create a stronger experience than men who appear energetic. Daily routines outside intimate moments directly affect presence. Overstimulating media, constant notifications, and lack of quiet time train the brain to stay restless. Men who build small pockets of stillness into their day notice that they are more grounded when it matters. Even 5 minutes of quiet breathing can reset the nervous system. Another overlooked factor is posture and physical comfort. Tight hips, a stiff lower back, or shallow breathing from slouching restricts circulation and calm. Gentle stretching, walking, or simply sitting upright improves awareness and ease. These changes are subtle but powerful. Men often ask if they need special techniques or complicated routines. The answer is almost always no. Consistency matters more than intensity. Simple habits done daily create a body that responds more predictably. The goal is not perfection. The goal is familiarity with your own rhythm. Emotional openness also plays a role in presence. When men feel they must hide uncertainty or tension, the body carries that load. When men allow themselves to be human, relaxed, and authentic, the body softens. Trust grows in that space. Another important shift after 50 is redefining confidence. Confidence is no longer about proving strength. It is about being comfortable with who you are today. That comfort is felt, not seen. It creates reassurance and stability. Average-sized men often underestimate how impactful this kind of quiet confidence can be. It removes pressure from both sides. It allows moments to unfold naturally. And when moments unfold naturally, they tend to feel deeper and more satisfying. As you practice presence, you may notice that timing becomes easier. You stop forcing moments and start recognizing them. The body communicates clearly when the mind is listening. This is not something you rush. It is something you notice. In the next part, we'll talk about how small lifestyle adjustments, emotional awareness, and patience work together to create consistency and ease over time. For now, remember this. You do not need to become someone else. You only need to be fully where you are. When the mind settles and the body feels safe, depth follows naturally. At this point, it's important to talk about consistency because this is where many men either regain confidence or slowly lose trust in their own body. Consistency does not mean everything feels the same every time. It means you understand what supports your body and what works against it. When you understand that, outcomes become more reliable. One of the biggest mistakes men make after 50 is reacting emotionally to one difficult experience. They label it as decline or failure and carry that thought into the next moment. The body remembers that tension. Confidence fades not because of physical change, but because of repeated negative interpretation. The body is influenced heavily by expectation. When you expect difficulty, the nervous system prepares defensively. When you expect ease, the body remains open. This is why patience matters so much. Giving yourself permission to have variability removes pressure, and pressure is often the real obstacle. Lifestyle patterns quietly shape consistency. Regular sleep keeps internal rhythms balanced. Going to bed at the same time most nights helps the body predict recovery. Inconsistent sleep confuses hormone cycles and energy levels. Men often overlook this, but it is one of the strongest foundations of stability. Nutrition also plays a supportive role. Not in extreme ways, but in simple choices. Whole foods, adequate protein, and steady hydration support circulation and nerve response. Large swings in blood sugar from irregular meals can create fatigue and irritability. When energy is steady, the body feels more cooperative. Movement is another key factor. Men don't need intense training to stay responsive. In fact, too much strain can backfire. Gentle strength work, walking, stretching, and balance exercises keep joints and circulation healthy without exhausting the system. Movement should leave you energized, not depleted. Emotional safety is just as important as physical health. When communication feels relaxed and pressure-free, the body responds with more ease. Men who feel they must show up a certain way carry that weight internally. When expectations are replaced with understanding, the nervous system softens. Another powerful shift is learning to separate self-worth from outcome. You are not defined by how one moment unfolds. Men who internalize this stop monitoring themselves constantly. That mental freedom improves presence and reliability over time. Consistency improves when men trust patterns instead of chasing perfection. You start noticing what times of day feel better, what habits support energy, and what situations create tension. This awareness allows you to adjust gently rather than react emotionally. It's also important to recognize that desire and response are influenced by emotional closeness. Feeling appreciated, heard, and respected creates calm. Calm allows natural rhythm to emerge. Men often focus on what they should do physically when emotional tone is just as impactful. Another overlooked factor is rest. True rest, not distraction. Scrolling or constant stimulation does not restore the nervous system. Quiet time does. Men who build rest into their week notice improved mood, energy, and responsiveness. Confidence grows when men stop waiting for a perfect version of themselves to